Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Tom Eats Garbage He Finds on the Side of the Highway. Today we got something special for you. A nice fresh chicken of the woods. At least I'm hoping this thing is fresh. Looks pretty fresh. I just saw it yesterday night, so I'm assuming it can't have been here too long because I drive this road every day. So anyway, it's starting to rain, and I'm on the side of the road, and I have about that much room to not get creamed. So I'm going to shut up and harvest this thing real quick, and then I'll show you another one that I just found, and talk a little bit more about chicken of the woods. That's a pretty good chunk, and it looks pretty dang fresh. And it only had a little bit of poison ivy growing in it. All right, so here's the other one, and there's my haul from the last one, so we've got at least double. So what makes this so exciting for me is that this is actually the first time I have found proper chicken of the woods around my family's land, or actually anywhere here down in the low country. So down here in the low country, especially here on these southern live oaks, whenever they get exposed heartwood, we don't actually have true chicken of the woods. This is true chicken of the woods. This is Latiporus sulphureus, I believe. I got the Latin up here. I probably pronounced that specific epithet a little bit wrong. But this is your prototypical chicken of the woods. This comes out of a hardwood stump, out of exposed heartwood, right at the ground level. Not out of the ground, but just above the ground level. So when most people say chicken of the woods, this is what they're referring to. But here, we get a different species. So take it away, Past Tom. Thanks, Past Tom. So this is that other chicken of the woods I was telling you about. This is Latiporus gilbertsoni pallidus variety. And I see this sucker growing out of the trunk of southern live oaks here all the time. This is the big, nice live oak in my yard that got struck by lightning, and so it's not doing so hot anymore on account of, the whole lightning blowing a third of the tree into oblivion. But anyway, every year I miss these things. By the time I notice them, they're already 2 or 3 days old and the beetles are in them. So I have not had a chance to try these. And there's another one of these over on my cousin's tree not too far away. And so this stuff looks exactly like chicken of the woods, except it's like pastel orange. And it's very light, very pale. And I've got photos going on the screen right now of what it looks like when it's fresh and fully open. But I have not had a chance to try these yet. And mark my words, one of these days I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna catch it next year. But I missed them this year. So nothing I can really do about it. That and I had tree bees up there, so I didn't want to get too far in here. But it's nice and sawdusty now. Anyway, I digress. It's all yours, future Tom. Thank you, Past Me, for thinking ahead. So as you can see, the other species, Latiporus gilbertsoni, the pallidus variety, is very different. It grows up here out of the tree rather than down here, and it is not so boldly orange. Don't know how different it tastes because I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I miss it every year by like 2 days. So anyway, I'm really excited to finally be able to try this stuff. So I'm gonna hack these guys off of here, load them up in the bucket, and take it back. And I think we're just gonna do a simple saute, just some olive oil, some garlic, salt and pepper, all that jazz. And I'll probably just fry one up on its own and just see what we're working with. Oh yeah, that is fresh as a daisy. Not even a single beetle mark. So there's if you didn't know, there's species of beetle that specifically specialize on eating fresh fungus. And so they'll just get in there, bore into it, fill it with maggots. And it's extra protein, but it makes it go down weird, is what I'm trying to say here. So being able to catch this stuff when it's nice and fresh is just a godsend. Additionally, I think the factor that's playing into that is that it's December right now. It's December 3rd. So this stuff is coming out late. Usually these pop out in September or October, specifically the gilbertsoni. So I don't know why these are coming out in December. I've never actually seen them come out before. So it's exciting, and I can't wait to try them. And I forgot to mention some other ecology about chicken of the woods. So chicken of the woods is a parasitic saprophytic fungi. It feeds on the heartwood of hardwood trees. And so it's a saprophyte in so much as that it eats the dead wood, but it also attacks the live wood. So it is actively trying to kill the tree. So live oaks are pretty dang resistant to fungi, but when they get struck by lightning, which is probably what happened to this tree, something along those lines, or potentially burn scars, they don't always do so good. So the chicken of the woodses are able to establish in the heartwood, and then the tree kind of battles against them. but it attacks the roots and it attacks the trunk and it attacks the heartwood, and it actually attacks the living vasculature of the tree. So the tree's in a constant battle against this stuff. When the tree dies, this stuff will persist for a while, but it doesn't always do that great. So chicken of the woods kind of does best on a tree that is doing well, but hasn't quite sealed off, its heartwood from the environment. So since this tree is still in a kind of consistent immunological battle with the elements, the chicken of the woods is able to get in there and exploit that weakness in the tree. So the tree does healthy, which means that the fungus does healthy. It's not really in the fungus' best interest to kill its host since it's a parasite. So it kind of does best on a tree that is actively healing, like this. Or at least that's what I'm hypothesizing. So anyway, it's a neat fungus, and it's edible. And apparently it's tasty, but I'll be the judge of that. Hoo-wee, that's a haul. That's about 5 pounds of mushroom right there. And that first one we cut is definitely the youngest, so that's going to be our best bet. So I was looking on it, and internet says don't eat it raw, or it'll fight you coming back out. So we're not going to do that. And also says to cook it thoroughly, and that you may just not be compatible with it. So we'll see whether or not I die. I'll try not to feed it to the rest of my family. Also, I got to look up to see if I can dehydrate this, because may not be able to get to it if I've got to, do a test day. So we'll see. All right, well, that's all I was able to get out of it. Vast majority was too woody and too far gone. I still barely caught it in time, actually. This stuff already has the pores open and everything. So I guess I'll run a test batch on the old stuff and see whether or not it kills me. And if it doesn't, then we'll eat the rest of it tomorrow. All right, so we're just kind of winging it. Got fresh bunching onions, fresh thyme, some very unfresh garlic, and a little bit of olive oil. And just gonna let this go for, it's probably gonna end up being about 20 minutes total. I saute this, and I'll pick a piece out and see whether or not it needs anything. But I still gotta season it. And this is just a test run to see what we need to do for all of it. Too bad, can't have it. Came out pretty good. They soaked up every last damn bit of oil too. And I think I overcooked them a bit because they're a little crunchy, but that's pretty good. That's like a portobello mixed with a chicken nugget. Man, they didn't get like any of this. Get just a hint of the garlic out of there, and all the Maillard, but yeah, fresh would have been better. Only got 2 cloves in it. That's pretty damn good. Now we got to figure out what we're doing with the other 2/3. Alright, there's the rest of it. I'll go a little bit more al dente, a lot more onion. No ill effects from yesterday. Not looking too bad. Alright, the dog's fixated on a possum right now, so I'm out here in the garage giving my post-mortem on the chicken of the woods. And I have to say, this is pretty dang good mushroom. I'm not going to lie. That's much better than the smooth chanterelles I've had out here. The smooth chanterelles that we get down here in the low country around Charleston are like some of the least flavorful chanterelles out of all the different species. I hear that the red chanterelles are really good, and the golden ones are what grows in Europe, and those are kind of like the primo top of the line one. I hear the reds are basically the same, but the smooths are kind of like toned down from that. I haven't had golden or red chanterelles yet to compare them to. But the smooths are okay. I mean, they're super prolific. They're easy to collect. They're easy to prepare. And I wouldn't pay money for them. Let's see, the lion's mane now. Those are pretty good, but it's really hard to get your hands on lion's mane. That's one that you can grow in a block, like in your closet, and if you can do that, I think they're worth it. That's one of the saprophytes that you can just grow on dead wood. Now, the chicken of the woods, since it's a parasitic, you can only get it off a live tree. Same with the smooth chanterelle is a mycorrhizae. It's it's a mutualistic associate with the tree roots, so you can't cultivate those in captivity. And then I don't think the chicken of the woods will fruit when it's just acting as a saprophyte. I think it'll only fruit when it's actually parasitizing. I think that's the only way it can get enough nutrition to actually fruit. Anyway, I'm going off on an ecology tangent, although that's kind of the whole point of the channel. So you get what you bargained for here. Um, but chicken of woods is really good. The test batch I did yesterday, I did 2 cloves of crushed garlic, um, one fresh bunching onion, olive oil, and just a dash of dried rosemary and a couple sprigs of fresh thyme. And I cooked the snot out of it. I overdid it. I cooked it. I didn't let it steam. I took the lid off, and I cooked it in that oil. The olive oil, I'm just not a big fan of olive oil. It didn't really quite blend perfectly with it, and it really drove all the moisture out of it. So they ended up pretty dry on the tail end of it. Oh, and I added salt and pepper too. The garlic goes really well. The thyme goes well. Um, but yesterday, cooked them way too long, drove all the moisture out of them. They got too dry. They tasted a little bit like well, fried basically. So tonight, I cooked twice as much in the same pan. I had a whole green onion that I cut up in there, bulb all the way up to the leaf tip. Um, and I used butter this go round. I think I put in about 2 tablespoons of butter. One of that was just like well, not an old thing, a prepackaged thing of garlic butter from the local pizzeria that I just had in the fridge. So I dumped that in there, so I didn't have to open up a new stick of butter. And then just one big fat pat of butter. Um, Probably a teaspoon of minced garlic, um, dash of dried rosemary, a dash of dried parsley, probably about 5 or 6 sprigs of thyme, a little dash of dried thyme, uh, dash of long pepper, some fresh cracked black pepper, and some sea salt, and that was good. Probably a little over on the salt, but the butter, oh the butter, and I kept the lid on it this time, so it steamed inside of there. I just took the lid off and like dumped off the condensation, and when there stopped being enough condensation on the lid for it to like dribble off of the actual lid, I just left the lid on it and let it steam like that, and that kept the inside of the mushrooms nice and moist, while the outside actually, got that Maillard reaction going, got a little bit of caramelization going, and that was perfect. And the butter just went excellent with it. So that's my recommendation is cook it in butter. Um, butter is the way to go unless you were just dead set on olive oil. Oh, the butter. So yeah, I would definitely do that again. I don't know if I'm ever going to actually find chicken of the woods around here again. That's the first time I've honestly actually seen it. Like I said, I've got that whatever it is, pale chicken of the woods is what I'm going to call it for lack of a specific common name, but that Latiporus Gilbertsoni. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try and see if I can get that next September, October, whenever it comes out of yonder tree over there, and we'll see how that one does. I'm interested to see if it's just as good as regular chicken of the woods, or probably more than likely it's probably not as tasty because it's not as orange. It's just it's what the monkey brain's telling me. But anyway, I digress. If you want to see me eat random garbage I find on the side of the road, and eventually, maybe one day I'll die, you gotta subscribe. So go down there and smash the big gray button over there. Until next time, Tom out.